This is Ling Wong at Slivery.com, business soul work and marketing activation for coaches. So as you can see, I guest starring my little guy today, but we're not going to talk about him. Today, I am very excited to have a couple finance expert, Rick Gabriele, with me. So Rick is the creator of the Marriage Buzz, putting the honey back in your relationship. Rick is a firecracker. He is a visionary, an author, wellness, lifestyle, health, and fitness coach, and of course, a relationship expert, a relationship alchemist. He has done many things, and after 25 years in the fast-paced worlds of business building, Wall Street, and healthcare, he cultivated a passion for people and the complex yet exciting lives that they lead. He's absolutely a people person, no question about that. A leader with a sense of humor is one client put it, and Rick really infuses enthusiasm into others wherever he goes, and it is contagious. His energy is contagious, and you're going to see it very soon. Rick is a lifelong student of communication, especially in marriage and family dynamics. Rick's mission is clear: to bring couples together to create deeper connections, make and keep more money, and have better sex. Woo! So without further ado, I am going to introduce Rick, and we are going to get started. So what is this conversation with Rick about? So as coaches and people who work for, who have our own businesses, we always we are always investing in ourselves. We're always investing in our business, in growing ourselves and growing our businesses. It may be sometimes tricky if you are married and you have a spouse, and this partner may or may not be completely understanding the reason behind why you're investing it or being totally supportive. So I have Rick here so that, of course, he makes noise. Get to the good part. Can you hear me okay, Rick?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you're fine.
So I want to get Rick here so that he can share with you some pointers and ideas when bringing up the subject of investing in your business, making a financial investment in yourself and your business, and how to bring it up to your partner without, like Rick says, breaking the honey jar. So, Rick, let's bring you in. Okay. Let's see, if you start talking, maybe the camera will go to you.
Okay. Hi, Ling. How are you? Thanks for that beautiful introduction.
Good. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you.
Let me see if I turn. Okay. No, I'm trying to bring you on. Okay, Rick, let's get you to start talking and see if we can get you on.
Okay, Ling, thanks for that beautiful introduction. So happy to be with you today. Very excited to talk about this subject. It's near and dear to my heart. It's actually the origin, if you will, of the Marriage Buzz program. I was having a conversation with Carol, my wife of over 25 years, I guess about 5 years ago. And we were talking about money, and it was always a very, very touchy conversation. And this program was born. So today I think we're going to specifically get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of how, as a health coach and an entrepreneur, your people can communicate with their spouse about investing in your business, getting to the next step, and I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I am still a little perplexed because apparently I'm seeing my face on the screen instead of you.
Oh, so how do you get me up there? Let's see. I don't know. Maybe. How about that? Is that working? Oh, it says you're muted. Says that you're muted, Ling.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yes, I can.
Okay, and I can see you now. Okay.
No,
Sorry
that's great.
about
There we
that,
go.
guys. Let's get us talking.
Okay, so you got me now.
Yuri. All right, Rick. So just tell us about your story, and also give us the 5 tips that you want to share with us on how to bring up this somewhat sensitive subject to our partners and spouses.
Well, as I mentioned, my story is about 5 years ago. Carol and I were having a financial discussion, and it was almost like a switch flipped, that this was really the core conversation that a couple needed to have to, keep the romance going and get the connection back where it needed to be. So I started to create the Marriage Buzz program, and now after starting a bunch of businesses, it seems like this is really what most people are interested in digging deeper on. And so what I wanted to talk about today was the 5 areas or 5 questions that you should be prepared to answer before talking to your spouse about investing in your business. And some of the coaching programs that we get into are a large investment, but believe me, if you get the right one, the value is there, and it can just take you from A to Z a lot quicker if you have tools, tips, a mentor. So I wanted to go over the 5 areas with you. Number 1, I think the most important aspect of discussing this business with your spouse in advance is exploring the importance of your spouse's feelings regarding securities, their own personal security, their financial security, fears. They're going to have some fears and doubts. If you are the entrepreneur and your spouse is more conservative, as in my case, you need to sell this. You need to sell the idea, and you need to sell the concept of why it's important to invest. We want to keep in mind that our partner's feelings are valid, their opinions are valid, and so the first step is understanding why they're concerned, and that their security is number 1. Their fears need to be addressed. And in my wife's case, Carol just wanted to be heard. She wanted to know that she was going to be part of any kind of financial decision. And many times in my life I acted without even telling her, and then if it was a failure later, that was it was tough to explain after the fact why I didn't discuss with her ahead of time. She might have lent a helping hand, had been maybe better support for me than going it alone. And so that's the number 1 area, is
Right.
to really acknowledge your partner's feelings.
Yeah, nobody likes a surprise, right?
No, and if you look at it from a positive standpoint, the benefit of that is that having that spouse on board, having a partner, especially somebody who you are, fully committed to and or even married to, can be the foundation of your success in a business like this. It doesn't have to be a negative thing when you seek that support. It could be the foundation, as it is in my case. I mean, Carol's been unconditionally supportive of me, and a lot of times when we feel that support, we may even act more hastily. But it's a time to take a step back and really discuss in detail what you're about to do. And in the next 4 questions, we'll dig into that a little bit deeper. So, do you have any comments on that, or you want me to jump right into number 2?
I think that's awesome, and I think getting the support of people around you, people who are important to you, people that you care what they think, is a very important part, right? To get their buy-in and their support, so that when you need the support, say helping with something with the household, when you actually say you have to do a training, right, is so important, and getting that kind of buy-in is absolutely I think crucial for a long-term success in terms of the relationship and also the business.
Yeah, and as you know, as IIN grads, we learned early on that's one of the first things you ask your client is, will they have the support? In particular, in our origins in a nutrition program, will you have the support of your spouse, partner, significant other, family members before you get involved in this? Because we know how valuable it is, certainly in that arena, but even more importantly, when you're going to spend money, and they go hand in hand. You need that support. It'll give you more confidence. It'll help you be more in the open about it. And in this particular case, it's ironic that my program is all about marriage and communication. So most certainly, I'm an advocate of open communications from day one, especially about money.
That's great. So let's dig into the questions that you want to share with us.
Yes. So that was number one. What's the most important aspect of discussing the business with your spouse? And again, the feelings, getting that all out in the open. Second question would be, what is your plan for this business? And I refer to this as the 3 M's. Number one is your market. Who will you be serving? Number 2 is monetization. How will you make the money with this business? And the third one is the money. Where will the investment cash be coming from? So in my particular case, anytime I'm about to get into a business, Carol always asks, who are you going to serve? How are you going to make money? And where is the investment capital going to come from? If there's no investment capital, sometimes there's even time capital. Will you be spending time away from the family? If it's a busy couple, are there any resources in terms of time and money left over to go into this new endeavor? You don't want to go into debt if you don't have to. So what is the plan for the business is the second question. And the more detailed you could be, I don't say you have to write a business plan, but most certainly if you answer those 3 questions, it can be very helpful in keeping the partner on the same page. In my wife's case, she was a banker, so she can certainly lend credibility and financial knowledge. When I get in these conversations, she is the money person. So I am the salesperson. I'm the risk taker. I am the maverick. I'm the inventor. I'm the dreamer, and she would be Mr. Mooney. She's the banker. For those of you who are old enough to remember Mr. Mooney. So it's not only that, in terms of checks and balances, when someone's asking you those very pertinent questions, it helps you to fill in the blanks when you're about to get into a new business. This is all great stuff, just as the product and service development is important and the delivery of it. It's great to check out the money from a money standpoint. So I'm not a money person, although I'm becoming one. It's great to have a money person to ask you questions and really play devil's advocate, give you check and balances, and keep you honest. So that's the second point.
Absolutely.
Anything to add on that?
I think being able to sort of put it out in the open, the plan, like who you serve and where the money is coming from, really help you see from a more objective perspective what this venture is about and how you're going to make it work. Because it can look all nice and rosy in your head, right? But when you have
Always.
to actually articulate it to someone and get the buy-in, right? It's kind of like pitching a project to an investor, right? And
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly. It's a pitch conversation. The thing that I will add about that is if you've ever done presentations or pitches in front of investors, it's actually easier to pitch an investment team than your spouse, because when you're pitching an investment team, you can throw a curveball every now and then. You can try to put a nice bow around yourself, and sometimes you can get away with that, but you can never get away with anything with your spouse.
Oh yeah.
So you got to come clean when you talk to your spouse about money and business. And it's funny, Carol and I laugh all the time because anytime I come to her with new ideas, which is every day, she just cracks up. She says, "Oh well, what do you got now? What are you going to do next? Before the other thing is even warm, we're already jumping into a ancillary business or an offshoot." So I'm just always full of ideas and new business plans. So it's kind of funny. In our house, it's like oxygen.
Yeah, you're like go 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 go, right?
Yep,
So
100%.
and that's like that check and balance is. I think it's not just good for the couple, but also good for your business because you actually have to think it through so that everything would lay out and make sense before you take the action.
It is, yeah, very good.
Yeah, right. Now let's move on to the third point so that we
Okay,
can
so the third point is what are the benefits of this enterprise? And it's interesting when I was thinking about this and talking about it with her, I wanted to put something in here that covered the benefits because certainly it's a great thing to discuss and share. Why are we doing this? Why put the time? Why put the money? Usually it's a lot more time than money, but certainly both are valuable. So in this particular case, this question explores the positives for engaging in this business or this activity. And in my particular case, I always go for freedom, time, excitement, and hope. So I'm always looking to build more freedom into my life. For me, the whole reason I do this is for freedom. So I wanted to cover the benefits. So to kind of flip it around a little bit, and from the entrepreneur's standpoint, that's what most entrepreneurs are looking for is freedom, extra time, excitement. I get high on this, definitely, get charged when I'm starting a new business and or developing a new product or idea. And then hope for the future. When we are at the reins of our own wagon, we really think that it's always going to come out. It's going to, like you said, roses. I'm always going to win. I'm always going to profit. And so there's this eternal hope, a flame that burns in the entrepreneur's belly. So discussing the benefits with your partner can go a long way. It can also help them to feel your dream a little bit, taste it. I'm big on action versus passion, but I'm going to mention the P word anyway because you do need passion in those, on those late nights and when you're trying to hit deadlines and prepare for, any kind of presentation or launch. You need passion to fuel you, but I'm big on action, and one of the next steps we'll talk about that. But certainly, freedom, time, excitement, and hope are the benefits. In this case, in sharing that with your partner.
That's great, and I think really getting the excitement in the relationship to keep the support going because it's like you are in it day in day out, right? So you can keep it up, but how are you going to make your partner just as excited, right? And it's going to really keep up the relationship, and also if you don't want to just separate your life and you get onto the dinner table and you can't talk about your work or your day, right? So really that's a way to get them into the conversation, get them into the relationship.
Yeah, and I can tell you that it's, again, on a daily basis. I'll either come home from work or I'll come upstairs from my office and I'll sit Carol down and, I'll say to her, oh, I got to talk to you about this part, this issue, this thing that happened, this post, this book, this invitation, whatever it is, something great that happened, and then I'll go into it. And so I'm constantly sharing the celebrations. And, we have to have a balance. You have to also say when something didn't go right or something failed or we're going to retool, get back up, dust ourselves off. But it's very important. I thought, especially at the third step, to talk about the benefits and try to share some of that, try to spread some of that enthusiasm on the bread, if you will.
Absolutely. All right. So I can't wait to hear the fourth point. They're all great pointers.
Thank you. So number 4 is why do you need a coach and or mentor, and why do you need this program? So very often as I mentioned earlier, when we look at valuable mentorships and high-level coaching programs, platinum programs where we're really going to dig deep with somebody and basically, you know, take on a partner, take on a teacher for the next 3 to 6 months. This person's good. We're going to, you know, eat, sleep, and drink this business plan and the development of not only the concept, the target audience, and so quite often we find a program or two or 100 that we want, and we're going to be fully engaged in all of them. And so it's time to talk to the spouse or answer the question, who is this coach? Who is this mentor? What is this program, and why do you need it? Because as we know, all the information is available online. If you want to take 5 years and just search around for 5 years and then maybe go through trial and error for another 5 years, you might get lucky and you know, develop a product or a service that you can sell and, you know, maybe make your money back on. But none of us get into this for that reason. We get into it to, you know, improve other people's lives in addition to our own. We seek fulfillment. We're looking for more. We're looking to have our voice heard. We want to. We've identified our audience. We want to get our message out there. So, in my particular case, I'll just use you as an example. I believe I was looking at your programs and looking at your website for about a year before I contacted you. And, you know, I was doing my due diligence. I was observing what you were doing out there, watching what you were doing in the marketplace, looking at the results you had, trying to find feedback, and all the while watching your interplay with the market and listening to your voice and, you know, seeing your branding and how it resonated with me. And so in this particular case, you know, when I spoke to Carol, she said, "Who's this Ling Wang? What is this program? Why do you need this program? You know, what is this about?" And I was fully prepared to have that discussion. So, you know, this particular point explores the issue of moving forward with a high-level coach and/or mentor and/or program. In this case, all three with you. And you know, the main reason that I wanted to do this was that I didn't want to waste a lot of time and reinvent the wheel. I wanted to go to somebody who had already done the work, spent the time, invented the wheel, and so what I did was I traded some capital and some investment for a very high-level program. I think that in the next point you're going to hear, you know, the special sauce, if you will, of, you know, how you and I worked together and why we were able to achieve such dramatic results in such a short time. It was all about shortening the learning curve for me, because at my age, I'm going to be 52 years old. I didn't want to wait 5 years to figure out all the answers and then have to take another 5 years to put it into play by myself. I wanted to have an expert on my team who could guide and mentor me. So be prepared when you say, "Honey, look at this program I'm about to buy, and I'm about to spend 6 months in." Just be prepared, the same as you did in step one. You know, to describe your plan.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared to have information, testimonials, have a good conversation or two under your belt, and justify in hard terms what you intend for this program. And you're going to have to stick to your bargain when you make that bargain. So be prepared to do the work that's necessary.
Yeah, and you know, bringing your spouse in can also help keep you accountable, right? So it's like, okay, you're using the money and you better get results.
Yeah, and in step 5, which we'll get to in a minute, I explore the 4 A's.
All right, give it to us.
So, you know, in terms of who is the coach and mentor, what is the program, the 4 A's are assurance, accountability, actionable, and activity. So in exploring the 4 A's, be prepared when you talk to your partner or spouse to provide them with the assurance that they need to feel comfortable not only with this person but their program, that they have some level of experience and that you mesh well together. I think for me, I was looking more for synergy and chemistry at my stage and my experience level than I was in finding someone who had been doing something for 20 years. I actually think that enthusiasm and excitement is more attractive to me, and everybody's different. So certainly one entrepreneur might look for something different in a program. I was looking for excitement, enthusiasm, and I wanted to provide Carol with the assurance that in this particular case, your program, for instance, that you knew what you were doing, that you had a great background, that you had a brand that was very exciting to me also. So I wanted some of that. I wanted some of that magic. I wanted that fairy dust, as you call it.
Yeah, so and everybody have different reasons, right? So it's not like a one size fits all. Like you tell your spouse this,
No.
this, and that, and he or she is going to buy it. And it's really based on your understanding of your spouse and what is important to this person. And you may not have to give the whole checklist of items, right? Just tell him or her what is important for him or her,
Yep.
and how are you going to help through this investment achieve that for the relationship.
Yeah, and the second A is accountability, as you mentioned earlier. Who will ensure that I am held accountable for doing the work that's necessary? And I can say unequivocally, hands down, when we got together, I mean, it was day one. I felt very accountable. I think that when we originally talked about this, that you said that you were going to provide the agenda, or you were going to provide the framework, and it was going to be my agenda. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be this set in different ways, but the idea is that you are the one to drive your business, and I'm the one here to give you what you need to drive it the direction that you want, right? And also the for some people, accountability is absolutely one part of the equation.
Yeah, for me it was the biggest part. I mean, I had done many programs before. I had been in coaching programs. I had done different, done for you programs. I had purchased things that I was going to read and or study, online courses, books, you name it. I mean, I definitely tried many times to put something together, and when we got together, we really did have some great chemistry and magic, and I felt completely accountable, to this day. I mean, I would use the example of when you are in a class, when you're in school, and you really connect with a teacher, and that teacher motivates and inspires you. It follows you out of the classroom. So after the bell rings, I can think back on a couple of teachers that I had in my life. No matter what they asked of me, I was 100% into delivering it, and that's a very valuable relationship. You can't put a dollar amount on accountability. It's impossible to measure.
That is awesome. Now tell us about the other two A's.
So the other two A's are actionable. In this case, what steps are needed to execute your plan? So you do need to have some actual steps that are, you can take in the process. So step one is this, and then an actual form, an exercise, a workbook, some type of guide to get you through that step. And it's so much easier when somebody provides that, and you just basically plug in your content and or put your voice to it. And so in this case, every time I put a program together, I'm looking for actionable steps that people could use literally right after the teaching. So if somebody hangs up a phone with me, they can do either one thing, two things, three things right away. They don't have to do anything except get right to work. And it eliminates procrastination, or certainly decreases it, and it increases confidence. So it allows you to let your voice come out, put the content together, product or service, and then deliver it. So actionable is a huge key. I would say accountability, you know, for me, accountability was the biggest thing, but actionable steps was the next biggest thing. So explain to your spouse step by step exactly what you're going to do. Show them a worksheet, a program. You know, once you get a few of those going, they're probably not going to ask you too much anything after a while.
That's great. And now I want the last step.
Okay, the last step is activity. Will the necessary steps and/or process be easy to begin and complete? So even if you assure your partner that this is the right program, you are accountable, and you have actionable steps, you now have to put in the work, which is sit down, get focused, and execute. So the activity is the final ingredient in the special sauce, in the magic of the fairy dust. Everyone is familiar with The Secret, and when it came out, everybody said, well, if I just pray for, you know, riches and fame and cars, they'll show up in my driveway. And then a couple of more years went by, and people talked about accountability and you know, taking the steps that you need to take to make that happen. And now we're at the point where we're in an uncoaching phase, we're in an unmarketing phase, and we are in an activity phase, an execution phase, where hard work is back in, it's back in vogue. And for all us hard workers, it's exciting because it means that what we've been doing all along is going to work, and it's just a matter of time before a product or a service, when you use the 4 A's, it's only a matter of time until it becomes a reality.
That's wonderful, and I like what you said about hard work. Oh, little guy. Okay. So that is great tips, and we really appreciate that you're here to share these ideas and strategies for us. So to wrap up, Rick, can you tell the audience where they can find you and all the goodness that you have to offer?
Yes, you can find me at themarriagebuzz.com, and that's my website. It's loaded with great information, lots of great guidance, great resources for couples to put the honey back in their relationship. So that is themarriagebuzz.com. I also have an app on both iTunes and Android, and it's called The Marriage Buzz, and that is delivered right to your smartphone, which I know you have on you all day long. And it's basically 35 days of tips and tricks on how to improve your relationship delivered right to your phone every day. A lot of feedback. There's now a journal feature on there, which is pretty exciting, so you can add remarks and comments, and that's a terrific feature. It's got some news technology built in, so when I have new things going on, I can keep you informed that way. I also have a book that just hit Amazon on Father's Day called The 7 Ways to Creating a Can't Wait to Get Home, Deeper, Richer, Sexier Marriage. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's the first in a series of books exploring the marriage buzz in more detail. It's available in Kindle as well as in print format. And I think you're going to put the links to that in your show notes when we're done.
Yeah, I will. For people watching this video, all the links that you can find Rick's, his app, and his book will be posted right below the video on my blog. So if you don't have the time to scribble it all down or make note of the name of the books and the app, don't worry, all the link will be posted. So Rick, thank you very, very much for being with us here today, and for sharing all these wonderful tips on how to communicate with your spouse to help you invest in your program and get the support that you need. So
It's my
thank you
pleasure.
once again. All right.
My pleasure, Ling. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you and take care.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye.